Hey guys, good morning. It is, well, it's almost noon on Monday, March 6, 2017. And just wanted to make a video here. It's not on a particular trade, but just kind of a bit of I guess, an Elliott Wave lesson on setups and reading chart patterns using Elliott Wave. And could potentially point to a trade coming up here, but the main thrust of this is really just the patterns. So I'm concentrating on the pound Aussie. So what I'm looking at right now is the 8-hour chart or the 12-hour chart. Really doesn't matter. So and this goes to the importance of starting at the higher time frames and working your way down. Okay, so in this particular case, I think the daily is a little long. I use an MT5 demo account because my broker doesn't have MT5, but it's really important to have all these extra time frames, in my opinion, to be a good Elliott Wave trader. Instead of just having on an MT4, we only have the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, weekly, monthly. MT5, you get all these extra ones in between here. The 3, 4, 6, 8, and 12. So anyways, I'm concentrating on the 12 right now. So this is my higher time frame I'm looking at, and I see this pattern right here. So this to me looks like a classic 5-wave pattern. Now, depending on how this actually plays out, let me get rid of this vertical line for a minute. So right now I have this drawn as the wave 4, and then this is the wave 5 down, and so basically I'm saying that the trend ended here, and now we're going to have a correction to the upside. Now it's possible that this is actually the wave 4, and that the wave 5 this wave 4 will come up here and then it'll go down. But the bottom line is whether this was the end of the trend and we'll have a larger correction up, or whether this is just the end of this wave 3 and we'll have a correction up for 4 and then turn down again. Either way, this is going to go up. Okay, so it doesn't really matter at this point whether this was the end of the wave 3 and then this was a 4 up and then a 5 down to end this trend, or whether this is the end of the 3 right here. We're going to go up for wave 4 and then come up here and then go down for wave 5, okay, which is how I currently have this labeled. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, like I said, the bottom line is, on the higher time frame, we realize that this is probably going to go up again. Okay, and this is the pound Aussie. There's a lot of pips, and this is the 12-hour chart. So we'll look at this a little closer, but it's a few hundred pips minimum potential here to the upside. Okay, so so there's the 12-hour. So here's the bigger picture. Okay, now, so I'm going to draw a vertical line here indicating this current move up. Okay, starting at this candle on the 12-hour chart. I'm going to go over to this other instance that I have drawn here. This is the 30-minute chart. Okay, and I'm just looking at it on here because obviously with all this labeling, it looks all gobbledygooked on the higher time frame. So I don't want to do that. So now, so you see this line I drew here on the longer time frame on the 12-hour. If we go to the 1 hour, that spot would be right here. Okay, so this is the same place on the 1 hour chart that it is on the 12-hour chart right here. It's the same up move. Okay, now I was just saying that this move up is either a longer term trend starting to the upside, or it's just a correction to this downtrend that we saw on the 12-hour chart. But either way, it's going to probably continue up. So again, I want to reinforce that point, that it doesn't really matter at this point. Now it will matter once that uptrend begins, because if it's a new move to the upside longer term, then it's going to go a lot further than that 300 or so pips. But even if it's only a correction to the downtrend, it's still probably going to go quite far, at least a few hundred pips. Okay, but we don't need to know that right now. Okay, so here we are on the 1 hour chart, and for now I'm going to assume that this is a correction, that this whole move up is part of a correction to this larger downtrend. That's how I'm going to assume that right now. Okay. So if that's the case, so corrections unfold, unless they're triangles, they unfold in 3 waves. Okay, A, B, C. Okay. And in this type of correction, wave A is generally 5 waves, wave B is 3 waves, and wave C would be 5 waves. Okay. So just follow me on this because it's going to get a little deep. But guys, really what this gets down to is how Elliott wave is fractal in nature, where the patterns on the larger time frames are going to be, a larger, or the patterns on the smaller time frames are basically a microcosm of what's going on the larger time frames. Okay, so again, I'm going to assume that this is a correction to the longer term downtrend, that this whole move up is a correction to that, and it's going to keep going up for a while either way. Okay, so if this is the wave A, we've got, and like I said, wave A usually unfolds in 5 waves. So these red numbers now is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as I have it labeled. So there's the A. Okay, now wave B, so now we've moved up. Okay, so now there's the A. Okay, the larger A. Okay, now we've ended that trend. Okay, now we're going to have a correction to this corrective wave. So this is the larger wave A from the 12-hour chart. Okay, so back to the 12-hour. This move up is what I just showed you on the 1 hour. This is the A. Okay, go back to the 1 hour. Here it is. Here's the A, the larger A. Now we're going to have a correction to this trend, which is almost done. So again, we're going to have another ABC correction to this move up. Okay, so these green numbers right here, so again, we're going to have an ABC correction to this trend, and this is a correction to the larger trend. So now let's just concentrate on this. So here's the move up, and now we're going to have an ABC correction to that. This is the A. And again, the A is usually in 5 waves, which I have labeled in these green numbers. If I go down to a little bit lower time frame, let's go to the 30-minute. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that. Okay, and as I said, wave B is usually 3 waves. Okay, and which this is. So here's B going up. So here's the A. This is the corrective A to this uptrend. So here's the A. Then we have 1, 2, 3 waves up. So here's the B. That's this red B going up. And now we have wave C going down. And the waves are a little bit harder to see on here. Go down a little bit here. Let's see if we can find it. Again, it doesn't really, it's not really clear, but you can label this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the bottom line is, go back to the 30-minute, this is the wave C down. Okay, right here. This is the wave C down. And I don't think it's over yet. Where I have this red arrow is probably approximately where this will come down to. It may not even go that far. It may, it may only end up to, coming back and retesting this low right here. Okay, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the bottom line is, once this move down finishes, okay, right here, then that's going to end this ABC, and that's going to cause the price to go back up and continue this uptrend, okay, which is wave A of the longer correction on the 12-hour. Okay, so right here, right now, this is what we were just looking at on the 1 hour with this wave C down. That's almost over. So here's the wave A, that big wave A up, and then we've got an ABC down for the correction to this move. Okay, I know this probably sounds confusing. If you have to, you just watch it again. But okay, so ABC down. So when this downtrend, which is this wave C, ends, this will go back up. And the consequential up move, once this whole correction down ends, should be at least as long as this move. Okay, because if this is an ABC, if this whole thing is an ABC, A, B, C, then the A and the C are usually about the same length. It's a rule of thumb. It's not a hard, fast rule. But this wave A was 278 pips. So you would expect that once this C wave down ends, that this is going to go up at least 278 pips. Now, if it turns out that this is the beginning of a larger turn to the upside on the 12-hour, in other words, back to the 12-hour, this trend is over now. There's going to be a much larger correction. Then it's going to go a heck of a lot further than 278 pips. But a conservative view is that this is going to go up 278 pips once this wave C ends. Either way, as I said, this is going to go up, and it'll go up quite substantially. Okay? So like I said, this wave C isn't over yet. I think this is going to go down a little bit more. It may only come back to this low, but either way, I think it will go down again. It's kind of chopping around sideways now because London's closed for the day, so things will quiet down now. And we'll probably just drift around for a while. So you say, okay, well, how am I going to know when this is going to turn back to the upside? Well, as I've stated a million times, you have to follow some of the fundamentals in the economic news releases, because those are the catalysts for these moves, for these bigger moves. Okay? So we go to our Forex Factory calendar. What do we find? Well, we're looking at the pound Aussie, so we're looking for pound and Aussie news. Well, tonight, so happens at 10:30 p.m. New York time, we have the Australian dollar cash rate and the RBA rate statement at 10:30 p.m. New York time. Now, as they are not expected to cut the rate, they're supposed to keep it at 1.5%. So let's assume that they do. Then you know what I'm going to say next. Then the key will be what is in the rate statement that comes out with the news. Okay? Based on what the patterns look like right now, which, we're still, 10 hours from this news, so a lot can happen, so please don't take what I'm saying now as God's truth, but I would suspect that the news will be negative for the Australian dollar. Okay? Now, it could be that the news is somewhat positive. So what could happen is that this kind of moves sideways all day. The news comes out, let's say it's slightly positive, the statement's slightly bullish for the Australian dollar. Maybe that sends the pound Aussie down to end the wave C, and then the market kind of rethinks it and it turns back up. I don't know. It really just depends what this is doing at the time the news comes out. If it's down here, if it happens to drift lower the rest of the day, and the news comes out and the price is somewhere down here at these lows, then I would expect that the news will be probably negative for the Aussie, and that will send it up. Okay? So it'll either be a last-minute blow-off on Aussie strength to push it down and then bounce up, or it'll already be down here and it'll go up on the news. Okay? But either way, I suspect for more of the moderate to longer term that the news will be negative for the Aussie, but the immediate news release could potentially be positive. Okay? Just, depends. Okay? So we've got that news. And then coming up on Wednesday morning, 7:30 a.m. New York time, from the UK, they release their annual budget. Okay? This is red level news. Okay, this is the country's budget release. And it's going to have all kinds of information in there about what they expect to spend, what they expect for taxes, what they expect to take in for income, and it's going to give the market a really good clue over the, where the, what they're expecting for the pound over the next year. In terms of their budget will kind of give a lot of clues to the strength or weakness of their economy. So that will be pound news. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Now, again, it could be that the Australian dollar news comes out slightly positive. It pushes the pound Aussie down. Maybe it continues down, and then the pound news comes out Wednesday that's bullish and it sends it up. Or maybe it starts going up after the Aussie news, and then it completes a trend on the shorter time frame. It corrects down, and then the pound news comes out, and that sends it back up again. So again, there's different scenarios, but again, the longer term, the mid to longer term is that the pound Aussie will go up. It's just a matter of how it gets there. Does it first go down more? Does it go up, then correct, then go up? Who knows? We'll have to see. But the bottom line is it will go up again. So again, I'm not really talking so much about the actual news release, but more about the patterns right now. So again, longer term downtrend, okay, took a pause or ended right here. Okay, so here's the longer term downtrend from the longer time frame. At this point, that downtrend either ended or it's in a correction. Doesn't matter. We don't need to really know that for sure right now. We have an ABC potentially forming ABC. Okay, let's go with that theory. So here's the A. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, and we've got and then again a correction to this A would be a three-wave correction, ABC. Okay, all right, ABC, and then within this ABC you're going to have a wave A with 5 waves, a wave B with 3 waves, and a wave C with 5 waves. Okay, so you got the longer, this is the main A, and then you've got an ABC correcting this A, and within this ABC you have 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves, and then it'll go back up. Okay, and that again, going back to the 12-hour chart, once this goes back up, the question is it going to go up to here and then go back down, or is this going to be the start of a longer term uptrend and it's going to go much further? Again, don't need to know that right now. We'll have to just see what it looks like. I have this labeled as a wave 5 so that this will come up here and then eventually go back down, but who knows, this could have been the end of the trend right here. This could have been the end of the 5, and now this is going to go up further, like I originally had it, where maybe this move up was the wave 4, and then oops, moved the wrong thing, and this was the 5, and this ended the trend. Now we have a much larger move back to the upside. Okay, doesn't really matter. I don't really need to know that right now. Okay, so I'll put this back the way it was. That this is a wave 4 that's still in progress, and it'll go up here and back down, but again, it doesn't matter. So alright, so it probably was very confusing, but you know, when I saw these, when I labeled this over the weekend, you don't usually always get these so clear like this, you know, but like I said, the key to this is starting on the higher time frame, kind of see what the larger pattern is doing, and then once you see that, start going down to lower time frames until you can see what's going on. And again, here we are back on the 1 hour. This is very obvious that this is a 1 2 3 4 5 up. You got an ABC down, and this will go back up. Okay, that's the bottom line. 5 waves up, 3-wave correction down, back up again. It's just a matter of what this whole thing is, whether this is going to be a new uptrend or whether it's a correction to this longer term downtrend, and we'll see how that plays out. Anyways, guys, hope that helps. Any questions, let me know. I know it was a bit in the weeds, but this is what we do as Elliott Wave traders, and you can see, you know, we use very clean charts. I didn't even mention the CCI because it doesn't really matter in this for this demonstration. It's just looking at nice clean charts and be able to pick out the patterns, and you know, labeling them isn't always the most important thing either, but I did it for the sake of this video just to show you what the potential possibilities are. So anyways, guys, maybe I'll make a video later tonight after the Australian news comes out. I don't know if I'll get a chance to make one before that. I'll be heading out tonight. I'll be back before the news comes out, but I probably won't have time to make a video before that. So I'm not going to make any prediction about what that news is going to be. It's too far away. It's still over 10 hours away at this point. But again, as I said earlier, I think the midterm expectation for the Australian dollar is that it'll be negative, and the Australian dollar will sell off. It's just a matter of how long term that will be. So anyways, guys, that's it. I hope you have a great day. Any comments, let me know, and I'll talk to you all soon.